All right, my spontaneous friends, let's talk about planning a last-minute cruise. Have you ever thought about booking a cruise just weeks or even just days before it sails? Sounds impossible, right? Especially because a lot of folks book their cruises a year or more out. Sounds super stressful? Well, you can actually do it. It doesn't have to be stressful, and it could even snag you a good deal if you know a few secrets. I'm Melissa, a university professor who loves to cruise and who loves to talk ship. And today I'm going to share exactly how to pull off a last-minute cruise without stressing yourself out and maybe even saving some money along the way. Oh, and at the end, I'll tell you the #1 mistake people make when booking last minute and how to totally avoid it. First, can you really find great deals last minute? The answer, absolutely, but you've got to be strategic. Now, cruise demand is skyrocketing. I talk about this all the time. Ships are sailing actually above capacity. They're booked out far in advance, but you still can find a deal. Cruise lines hate sailing with empty cabins because it's wasted space and lost revenue. So as that sail date gets closer, cruise lines sometimes have to drop their prices dramatically. But, and it's a big but, they don't always advertise these deals loudly. Sometimes you gotta do some digging. Learning about each cruise line's specific approach to last-minute deals in places like cruise forums and social media like Facebook or Reddit, that can be really helpful. That's how I learned, for example, about Holland America Line's standby list. So they actually have a standby program similar to airlines where you can sign up and potentially get a bargain on a last-minute cruise. So getting insider information like that through online forums is a helpful way to find a good deal. Also check the cruise line websites, do pricing searches regularly, and when you search for prices, search by date, obviously, search by price, sort low to high, and you might find some gems in there as prices are reduced right immediately close to the sailing. Now, if you do catch a good deal, make sure it is a good deal. Make sure you understand the port fees and taxes because sometimes those can be higher than the cruise price, especially if you're sailing to a destination that has really high port fees and taxes like the Panama Canal itineraries. Also consider, is it an inside cabin only? Obviously your best deals are going to be in an interior stateroom. I personally don't mind interior staterooms, especially if I can snag one for a great deal, but I know they're not for every cruiser, especially those that tend to feel a little claustrophobic. Also look to see if it is a GTY or a guaranteed cabin. Chances are high, if you're catching a last-minute great deal, it probably is. Now, there's nothing wrong with guarantee cabins. It just means that you don't get to pick your specific stateroom location on a deck plan when you're making your booking. Instead, the cruise line guarantees that they'll have a stateroom for you when you get there, but you get whatever they have to assign to you. Many times, these guarantee cabins are in less desirable locations, like underneath a loud Lido deck, above the nightclub, above a smoking casino where you smell smoke. Although sometimes with guaranteed staterooms, you can actually end up with a free upgrade or a better room. So it's just a gamble. But chances are better than not that with a guarantee room, you're probably going to end up with a slightly less desirable cabin. But I always say, even a bad day on a cruise and in a bad stateroom is better than a good day on land. Oh, and if you find a last-minute offer, don't delay. A lot of times when a sailing is at or almost at capacity, those last-minute rooms are few and far between, so they go very, very quickly. So if you know that you're looking for a last-minute deal, you know that you can leave from such and such port from a certain date. If a room pops up, snag it, grab it while you can. Now let's talk about what you need to do the minute you do snag that stateroom, because it's not just about getting your room on the cruise ship. So you booked your cruise, great, but you're not done. What you need to do is immediately look at travel insurance. Last-minute cruises can be riskier. You haven't had time to think about, is it hurricane season? What's the weather look like? What's going on in my life? Maybe I forgot about something or emergencies that might happen. So make sure that you're looking at travel insurance. I actually can provide a free quote for you for a single trip, or my recommendation strongly is to get an annual plan. I use Allianz for me and my 2 kids. We pay $485 a year. It protects us for all of our trips, cruises, ground, road trips, whatever, and it's all of us all year. It's a bargain. So make sure you quote out travel insurance. If you have an annual plan, you don't have to worry about it. You know you're already covered. But regardless of what you do or how you get covered, just get your coverage. You also want to consider your transportation to the port. If you are flying into a cruise port destination, you also need to book your airfare, and you could end up paying a lot for airfare if it's last minute. So a lot of times, but not always, these last minute cruise deals are ideal for people who live near or within driving distance of these home port locations. So if you have to fly in, obviously you need to book your flight. Hopefully you looked at flight prices before you booked your last minute cruise because you can get hosed on the flight price. but you also want to consider your transportation to the port. If you're flying in same day, which is a huge risk, I don't recommend it, but it can be done. You have to figure out how you're going to get to the cruise port. I usually just take an Uber, easy peasy, maybe not the cheapest, but I'm all about convenience. And last minute, that's probably what you're gonna get. You also have to consider excursions. If you're booking last minute, especially extremely last minute, you're probably not gonna get the pick of the litter when it comes to those cream of the crop cruise excursions or those big destinations that have limited capacity because you are booking last minute. But almost every cruise port everywhere, there's always something you can do even last minute. And fun fact, I have done many last minute cruises. My personal record for a last minute cruise is 20 hours before departure. I live in the Cincinnati area, and this was a cruise out of Port New Orleans. So I even had to fly there, but I booked it with less than 24 hours notice and made it work. So it's very doable. And in my case, it was a last minute casino offer. I cruise free on casino offers. I'll give you information about how to do that down in the description. And if you're newer to casino cruising, a lot of times your casino offers will only be at first last minute cruises. So I've done many last minute free casino cruises when I was still learning the ropes with casino cruises. And again, my personal record is less than 24 hours. So it's very doable. Stressful, but doable. Another thing to consider and to kind of hustle with is to figure out your financial stuff. If you're visiting foreign ports, which you probably are, double check to make sure US currency is accepted. Now, if you're taking a Caribbean cruise or an Alaskan cruise, you're probably gonna be fine. Although in the Caribbean, a lot of cruise port destinations will accept US currency, but a lot of them, especially the smaller Caribbean islands, they will not accept US currency if the currency is dirty, torn, or damaged in some way. So make sure that if you have currency, US currency, that it is clean and it's not damaged in some way. And if you're taking, for example, a European cruise, you probably need to convert your currency. You also want to make sure that you're in that 6-month passport validity rule. If you're taking a cruise that requires a passport or you're flying out of an international destination, before you book a last minute cruise, check that passport because you have to have 6 months left on it from the return date of your trip in order for it to still be valid. A lot of people think, oh, I've got a long time, my passport's not expired, and they're not aware of that 6-month passport validity rule, and they can get some nasty surprises. Oh, and the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to booking cruises, especially last minute cruises, they try to do it on their own. Now, I am a travel agent, although I personally only book travel for myself and my friends and close family. Although I do have booking partners that will book you. If you want that, I'll drop that information below, but I'm not trying to shill for travel agents here. But I will tell you, in all honesty, a great benefit of using a travel agent is that they are your personal advocate. They're the ones that are in these cruise line systems every single day. They see and know what cruise lines are offering what deals. They see and know capacity on different ships. They know where those last minute offers are to be had. So if you're trying to snag a good deal, especially on a last minute cruise, and you don't have a travel agent, get a travel agent, make your intentions known that you're trying to book a last minute cruise and save yourself hours of unnecessarily stalking cruise line websites hoping to snag a deal, and let them do the work for you. And best of all, it costs you literally nothing. So I wanna know, what's your personal record for a last minute cruise? Can you hang with the last minute bookings or do you need to book a year out? It can be stressful, but man, it can be exciting. As always, be sure to visit my website, profmelissa.com, for free port guides, cruise advice, my booking link for my friends, and so much more. Happy sailing.